Sophia was standing in the kitchen, carefully arranging the dishes in the dishwasher. The family lunch had just finished, and she could feel Evelyn's, her mother-in-law, gaze watching her from behind. Evelyn walked into the kitchen, her high heels clicking lightly on the wooden floor, like a foreboding signal of something unpleasant. "Sophia, can I talk to you privately for a moment?" Evelyn spoke, her tone gentle yet sharp, as if she was preparing for an important conversation. Sophia turned around, trying to maintain a smile on her face. "Yes, of course, Mom." Evelyn placed her wine glass down on the kitchen counter, her gaze slowly sweeping over Sophia, assessing every detail. Her fingers gently caressed the rim of the glass as if considering how to begin. "You know, Sophia, I always try to understand you. But sometimes, I wonder if you really understand what this family needs." Sophia paused slightly, but she remained calm. "What do you mean, Mom?" Evelyn smiled, a smile so flawless it was almost fake. She stepped closer, her voice lowering to a whisper, as if sharing an important secret. "Nick is a special man. He has a bright future ahead of him. And with his position, in this family, in this society, he needs a partner who can help him go further, not hold him back." Sophia stood up straight, her eyes locked on Evelyn. "Are you saying that I'm not suitable for Nick?" Evelyn tilted her head slightly, her voice still sweet but sharp as a knife. "You are very likable, Sophia. But let's be realistic a bit. You don't have the necessary connections, you don't come from the right background. Those things aren't your fault, but they are the truth." Sophia felt her heart tighten, but she remained calm. "Do you think Nick needs someone else?" Evelyn chuckled softly, as if she had just heard something naive. "You know, Sophia, sometimes love isn't everything. The right woman can help Nick advance his career, expand his influence. Do you want to see him held back just because of your limitations?" Sophia was silent, feeling as if every word from Evelyn was trying to suffocate her self-esteem. But Evelyn didn't stop. "You've had a great time with Nick already, and I'm sure you want what's best for him too. So, I think that if you truly love Nick, you'll know when it's time to step aside." Sophia took a deep breath, trying to hold back. "Are you asking me to leave Nick?" Evelyn shrugged, as if what she just said was obvious. "I just want what's best for my son. And I think, deep down, you know I'm right." Sophia stood motionless in the kitchen for a long time after Evelyn left. Her mother-in-law's words echoed in her mind, like needles stabbing at her self-esteem. She was not the type to easily succumb, but the cleverness and calculation in each of Evelyn's words made her feel as if she was being backed into a corner. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. This was not the first time Evelyn made her feel inadequate, but this time, everything was clearer than ever. She wanted Sophia to leave Nick. Sophia stepped out of the kitchen, her gaze directed towards the living room where Nick was sitting on the sofa, engrossed in watching a baseball game on TV. He looked comfortable, carefree, as if completely unaware of what had just happened in the kitchen. She approached, sitting down next to him. "Nick, can you talk to me for a moment?" Nick turned to look at her, his gaze gentle but with a hint of worry. "What's wrong, sweetheart? You look like something's bothering you." Sophia pressed her lips together, trying to maintain her composure. "Do you think your mother doesn't like me?" Nick chuckled, as if she had just said something silly. "What are you talking about? My mother likes you. She always says you're a good wife." Sophia looked directly into his eyes, her voice low but firm. "No, Nick. I don't think so. I think your mother wants me to leave you." The smile on Nick's face vanished. He sat up straight, frowning. "What did your mother say to you?" Sophia recounted the conversation with Evelyn, word for word, detail by detail. She did not add or omit anything. When she finished speaking, Nick was silent, his eyes thoughtful as he tried to process what he had just heard. "I can't believe my mother would say that," he finally spoke, his voice mixed with confusion and discomfort. "She can be a bit strict, but she doesn't mean any harm. I'm sure she's just worried about me." Sophia felt a simmering anger rising within her. "Worried? Nick, your mother said outright to me that I'm not good enough for you. That I should step aside so you can find someone better suited. Do you think that's just worry?" Nick sighed, raising a hand to rub his temples. "Sophia, you know what my mother is like. She always has high expectations, not just for you but for everyone around her. But that doesn't mean she doesn't respect you." Sophia stood up, feeling like she was talking to a wall. "Nick, you don't understand. This isn't just about your mother. It's about us. If you can't stand by me, then what am I supposed to do?" Nick looked up at her, his eyes filled with conflict. "Sophia, I love you. But you also need to understand that my mother is an important part of my life. I can't choose between the two of you." Sophia looked at him for a long time, then nodded, a faint smile on her lips. "Fine. If you can't choose, then I will find a way to deal with it myself." Sophia stepped out of the house, the chilly air of the late afternoon making her shiver. She needed some time to think, to figure out how to face all of this. She drove to a small coffee shop on the corner, a place she often went when she needed peace. Sitting down in a secluded corner, she ordered a cappuccino and opened her laptop. Sophia was not a weak person. Before meeting Nick, she had built her career from scratch, creating a small but promising cosmetics brand. She had never depended on anyone, and she was proud of that. But ever since stepping into Nick's family, she felt like she was gradually losing herself. She opened a document on her computer where she kept all her business plans and brand development ideas. She had temporarily set these aside to focus on her marriage, but now she realized that she could not continue like this. "If they think I'm not good enough, then I will prove them wrong," Sophia whispered to herself, her eyes shining with determination. She drove to a small coffee shop on the corner, a place she often went when she needed peace. Sitting down in a secluded corner, she ordered a cappuccino and opened her laptop. Sophia was not a weak person. Before meeting Nick, she had built her career from scratch, creating a small but promising cosmetics brand. She had never depended on anyone, and she was proud of that. But ever since stepping into Nick's family, she felt like she was gradually losing herself. She opened a document on her computer where she kept all her business plans and brand development ideas. She had temporarily set these aside to focus on her marriage, but now she realized that she could not continue like this. "If they think I'm not good enough, then I will prove them wrong," Sophia whispered to herself, her eyes shining with determination. That afternoon, Sophia returned home after an important meeting with her partners. Nick had not returned yet, and she knew Evelyn was at home, as usual. She walked into the living room, where Evelyn was sitting on the sofa, holding a cup of tea, her expression calm yet controlled. Sophia looked at her for a long moment before speaking. "Mom, I think we need to talk." Evelyn looked up, her eyes glimmering with curiosity but also caution. "Oh, what do you want to talk about, Sophia?" Sophia sat down across from her, her gaze steady. "I want you to understand that I am not going anywhere. I love Nick, and I will not let anyone, even you, push me out of this marriage." Evelyn took a sip of tea, then set the cup down on the table. "Sophia, I think you are misunderstanding. I only want what is best for Nick. If you feel threatened by that, then perhaps you should reassess your position." Sophia smiled, but her smile was no longer one of submission as it once was. "You may think that I am not good enough, but I will prove you wrong. I do not need your approval to know my worth. But you should remember that I am not someone who gives up easily. Evelyn tilted her head, her smile turning cold. Do you think you can challenge me, Sophia? I have lived long enough to know that love is never enough. Nick needs a woman who can support him, not hold him back. Sophia leaned back in her chair, her voice calm yet powerful. Then just wait and see. I will not only be Nick's partner, but I will also be the one who makes you change your perception of me. Evelyn was silent for a moment, as if assessing Sophia once more. Finally, she stood up, her gaze sharp as a knife. Fine, Sophia. If you want to prove yourself, I will wait. But remember, in this family, I will always hold the power. Sophia watched her silhouette leave, her heart igniting with a fierce determination. This was not just a fight for love, but also a fight for her own self-respect. Sophia threw herself into work like a storm. She continuously contacted old partners, restored her cosmetic brand, and came up with new ideas for development. She knew that if she wanted to prove her worth, she needed to achieve real success, not only in Evelyn's eyes but also in her own. One evening, when Nick returned home, he saw Sophia sitting in front of the computer, her gaze highly focused. On the table were business plans and samples of new product designs. What are you doing, Sophia? Nick asked, his expression a mix of surprise and curiosity. Sophia looked up and gave a faint smile. I'm working. I've decided to restore my cosmetic brand. I've put it off for too long. Nick stepped closer, looking at the documents on the table. I didn't know you still cared about it. I thought you had given up after we got married. Sophia shook her head. No, Nick. I never gave up. I just paused to focus on our life. But now, I realize that I can't just live for you or your family. I need to live for myself. Nick looked at her for a long time and then nodded. I understand. And I support you, Sophia. I know you can do it. Sophia smiled, but inside she still felt a bit of doubt. Would Nick really stand by her when Evelyn continued to apply pressure? She wasn't sure, but she knew that she couldn't wait for his support. She had to fight on her own. While Sophia was busy with work, Evelyn did not sit still. She began to find ways to intervene more deeply in the relationship between Sophia and Nick. She frequently called Nick to her house, discussing with him about the future and what's best for the family. One evening, Evelyn bluntly told Nick, "Are you sure that Sophia is the right woman to accompany you? You know that I always want what's best for you, and I'm just afraid that Sophia may not meet those expectations." Nick frowned. Mom, I love Sophia. She is my wife, and I trust her. Evelyn frowned, her voice becoming serious. Nick, love is not everything. You need someone who can help you grow, not hold you back. Are you sure that Sophia is that person? Nick was silent, his heart filled with conflict. He loved Sophia, but his mother's words made it impossible for him to stop thinking. While Sophia was busy with work, Evelyn did not sit still. She began to find ways to intervene more deeply in the relationship between Sophia and Nick. She frequently called Nick to her house, discussing with him about the future and what's best for the family. One evening, Evelyn bluntly told Nick, "Are you sure that Sophia is the right woman to accompany you? You know that I always want what's best for you, and I'm just afraid that Sophia may not meet those expectations." Nick frowned. Mom, I love Sophia. She is my wife, and I trust her. Evelyn frowned, her voice becoming serious. Nick, love is not everything. You need someone who can help you grow, not hold you back. Are you sure that Sophia is that person? Nick was silent, his heart filled with conflict. He loved Sophia, but his mother's words made it impossible for him to stop thinking. Sophia could not sit still after receiving a message from an old friend. She needed to know the truth. She decided to investigate further about the woman Evelyn was secretly arranging to become her replacement. One evening, when Nick went out to meet friends, Sophia quietly entered Evelyn's office. She knew Evelyn usually kept important documents in the small wooden cabinet next to her desk. With a bit of hesitation, she opened the cabinet and found a file. Inside was detailed information about a woman named Victoria, a young, beautiful entrepreneur from an esteemed family. The file also included photos of Victoria taken with Evelyn at recent social events. Sophia felt as if she was betrayed once again. Evelyn was not only trying to push her out of Nick's life but had also prepared a perfect candidate to replace her. Sophia closed the cabinet, her heart ablaze with anger. "If you think I will back down, you are mistaken," she whispered to herself. The next day, Sophia decided to confront Evelyn. She no longer wanted to avoid or endure. When Nick left the house for work, Sophia invited Evelyn over for tea at her place. Evelyn walked into the living room, her expression calm but unable to hide her curiosity. "Sophia, why did you call me here?" Sophia set the teacup down on the table, her gaze fixed directly on Evelyn. "Mom, I know about Victoria." Evelyn paused for a moment but quickly regained her composure. "Victoria? I don't understand what you're talking about." Sophia smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "You don't have to pretend. I've seen your file. I know you're trying to arrange for her to replace me in Nick's life." Evelyn leaned back in her chair, her eyes glinting sharply. "So you've rummaged through my things." "I'm surprised, Sophia. But since you know, I don't need to hide it anymore." "Yes, I think Victoria is better suited for Nick than you are." Sophia nodded, keeping her voice calm. "Then listen closely. I will not leave Nick, and I will not allow anyone, including you, to sabotage my marriage." Evelyn laughed, but her smile was cold. "Sophia, do you think you can stand against me? Don't you understand that I'm doing this for Nick's future? You don't have what it takes to help him go far. You're not the right woman." Sophia leaned forward, her eyes ablaze. "You're wrong. I love Nick, and I will do everything to protect him. But I will also prove that I'm not just a wife. I am a strong, independent woman, and I will make you change your perception of me." Evelyn stared at Sophia for a long time, then stood up. "Fine, Sophia. If you want to fight, I won't stop you. But remember, I am not easily defeated." Sophia watched Evelyn's shadow leave, her heart filled with determination. This was not just a battle for her and Nick's love, but also a fight to assert her own worth. Sophia knew that she couldn't just sit back and wait for Evelyn to make her move. She needed to take action. She began to participate in more social events, not only to expand her network but also to build her image in the eyes of important people in high society, where Evelyn always prided herself on being the center. At a large charity gala organized by Evelyn herself, Sophia appeared in an elegant dress, confident and radiant. She quickly captured everyone's attention, not only for her looks but also for her intelligent and engaging conversation. Evelyn watched from afar, her gaze full of discomfort. She never expected Sophia could shine so brightly. In a moment, Sophia stepped closer to Evelyn, holding a glass of red wine in her hand. "Thank you for inviting me to this party, Mother. I think this is a great opportunity for me to meet more people." Evelyn smiled thinly. "Don't think that one party can change everything, Sophia." Sophia took a sip of her wine, her gaze filled with challenge. "I don't need to change everything in one evening, Mother. But I will change the way people perceive me, step by step." Evelyn didn't respond, but inside she began to feel uneasy. Sophia was no longer the weak girl she once thought. Nick began to notice the tension between his mother and his wife. One evening, when Sophia returned home after a meeting, he sat waiting for her in the living room. "Sophia, is there something going on between you and Mom? I feel like you two are having issues." Sophia sat down next to him, sighing. "Nick, I don't want to hide this from you, but Mom is trying to push me out of your life. She's even looking for someone else to replace me." Nick looked at her, his eyes filled with surprise and confusion. "What are you talking about? Mom wouldn't do that." Sophia shook her head, her voice full of determination. "Nick, I don't need you to believe me right now. But I need you to understand that I won't give up. I love you, and I will protect this marriage." Nick was silent, his heart full of conflict. He loved Sophia, but he also couldn't ignore his mother's influence. Evelyn could not sit still as she saw Sophia increasingly assert her position in Nick's life and in society. She knew that if she did not act immediately, she would lose control. One morning, Evelyn went to meet Nick at his office. She brought with her a file folder containing information she had deliberately gathered about Sophia, trivial details that were exaggerated to damage her image. "Nick, I need to talk to you seriously," Evelyn began, her voice filled with concern. Nick looked up from his desk, his gaze showing a hint of fatigue. "Mom, I've already said, I don't want to be caught between you and Sophia." Evelyn sat down across from him, placing the file on the table. "You don't understand, Nick. This is not about me or Sophia. This is about your future. I can't just stand by and watch you gamble everything for a woman who isn't worthy." Nick frowned, opening the file. Inside were photos and information about Sophia before she married, her old relationships, the financial hardships she had faced. Evelyn had deliberately made everything look as if Sophia was hiding something. "I think Sophia is not completely honest with you," Evelyn said, her tone a mix of worry and calculation. "I just want you to think carefully before things go too far." Nick looked at the file, feeling filled with doubt. He knew Sophia was not perfect, but he also knew she was a strong and sincere woman. However, his mother's words made it impossible for him to stop thinking. That night, when Nick returned home, he carried the tension from his conversation with his mother. Sophia immediately noticed that something was wrong. "Nick, what's wrong? You don't look well," she asked, her eyes full of concern. Nick set his bag down and sighed. "Sophia, I need to ask you a few things. My mother gave me some information about you, about your past. I don't want to believe it, but I need to hear it from you." Sophia froze, feeling as if her heart was being crushed. "What did my mother tell you?" Nick handed her the file. "Please take a look. She says that you have hidden these things from me. I don't care about your past, but I need to know the truth." Sophia opened the file, and when she saw what was inside, she felt both angry and heartbroken. This information was not a secret, it was just parts of her life that she never thought were necessary to detail. But Evelyn had turned them into weapons against her. "Nick, I haven't hidden anything," Sophia said, her voice trembling with anger. "Yes, I've had difficulties in the past. But that's what has made me the person I am today. If your mother thinks that is a reason for me to be unworthy of you, then she is wrong." Nick looked at her, his heart full of conflict. "Sophia, I love you. But my mother, she just wants what's best for me. I don't know what to do." Sophia stood up, her eyes blazing. "Then you have to decide, Nick. Do you want to live for your mother, or for yourself? I can't keep fighting your mother alone. If you don't stand by my side, then I don't know if we can continue or not." Sophia decides to confront Evelyn one more time, this time to clarify everything once and for all. She arranges to meet Evelyn at an upscale cafe, where they can talk privately. Evelyn arrives, her expression cold but confident. "Sophia, I don't know what you want to say, but I think everything is already clear." Sophia looks straight into her eyes, her voice calm but full of strength. "Mom, I know what you've done. You've tried to sabotage my marriage to Nick. But you're wrong. I'm not someone easy to defeat." Evelyn smirks. "Sophia, do you think love is enough? You don't understand that marriage is a game of power. And in this game, I always win." Sophia leans forward, her gaze sharp. "You may think you have the power, but you've underestimated me. I not only love Nick, but I am also an independent, strong woman. I don't need your approval, but I will not let you destroy my life." Evelyn is silent for a moment, as if reassessing Sophia once again. Finally, she speaks, her voice lowered. "Very well, Sophia. If you want to fight, I won't stop you. But remember, I am not easily defeated." Sophia smiles, but it is not a submissive smile. "I don't need to defeat you, Mom. I just need to stay true to myself. And that is enough to make you change your perspective on me." After days of reflection, Nick finally realized that he could no longer allow his mother to control his life. He loved Sophia, and he knew that if he did not stand by her, he would lose her forever. One evening, when the whole family gathered, Nick stood up and said, "Mom, I love you, and I always respect you. But I also love Sophia, and I will not let anyone, not even you, ruin my marriage. I hope you can accept that, because I do not want to choose between the two of you." Evelyn looked at him, her eyes filled with disappointment, but she knew she could not change Nick's decision. Sophia took Nick's hand, her heart full of gratitude and love. She knew this was not the end of all difficulties, but it was a new beginning, a beginning where she and Nick could build the life they wanted together. A week after Nick declared his support for Sophia, the family organized a dinner for reconciliation. Evelyn, albeit reluctantly, agreed to participate. Nick hoped this would be an opportunity for everyone to start over. Sophia prepared dinner with all her heart, but inside she still had many worries. She knew that Evelyn was not easily changeable, and the relationship between the two was still far from being called harmonious. When everyone sat down at the dining table, the initial atmosphere was quite quiet. Nick tried to start a light conversation. "Mom, I hope you will like the dish Sophia prepared. She spent the whole day cooking." Evelyn took a sip of wine, her gaze drifting over to Sophia. "Thank you, Sophia. The food is very delicious." Sophia nodded, smiling lightly. "Thank you, Mom. I'm very glad you like it." Although the words seemed conciliatory, there was still an invisible wall between the two. Nick realized this, and he felt helpless. He loved both women in his life, but he wasn't sure if they could truly get along. A few days after the dinner, Evelyn decided to meet Victoria to inform her that her plan had failed. Victoria sat across from Evelyn in a fancy cafe, her expression calm but unable to hide her curiosity. "Why did you call me here, Aunt Evelyn?" Evelyn sighed, her gaze showing a hint of fatigue. "Victoria, thank you for agreeing to meet me. But I think we should stop here." Victoria frowned. "What do you mean?" Evelyn looked at her, her tone growing serious. "Nick has chosen Sophia. And even though I do not agree, I cannot continue to interfere in his life. I think you are a wonderful woman, but perhaps this is not the right time." Victoria was silent for a moment, then nodded. "I understand. But I hope you will not regret this decision." Evelyn did not reply, but inside she still had many contradictions. She knew that giving up her plan did not mean she had fully accepted Sophia. That evening, Sophia and Nick sat together on the sofa, reviewing the plans that Sophia was working on for her cosmetics brand. "I think you're doing really well," Nick said, his eyes full of pride. "I've never seen you so energized before." Sophia smiled, but inside she still felt a bit uneasy. "Thank you, Nick. But I know that things between my mother and me are still not really okay." Nick took her hand, his voice gentle yet firm. "Sophia, I've chosen you. And I will always stand by your side. But I also hope that you and your mother can find some common ground. I don't want to live in separation forever." Sophia nodded, but she knew that it wouldn't be easy. Evelyn was a strong woman, and she was not easily swayed in her views. One morning, Evelyn stood in her garden, looking at the roses she had tended for many years. She recalled conversations with Nick, confrontations with Sophia, and all the plans she had painstakingly arranged, only to see them fail in the end. She wondered, had she been wrong? Or was it simply that she did not understand her son? Evelyn sighed, her gaze distant. She knew she needed to make a decision, either continue to fight to maintain control, or learn to let go and accept that Nick had grown up and could make his own life decisions. But could she really let go? A few weeks later, Sophia organizes a launch event for her new cosmetics brand. Nick stands beside her, proudly watching her shine. Sophia has overcome many difficulties to reach this moment, and she knows this is just the beginning. Evelyn is also present at the event, standing in a distant corner. She observes Sophia, seeing her confidently engage with partners and guests. Although she doesn't want to admit it, there is a hint of admiration in her heart. When the event concludes, Sophia approaches Evelyn. "Thank you for coming, Mom. It means a lot to me." Evelyn looks at her for a moment, then nods. "You did very well, Sophia. But don't think that I have completely accepted you. Everything still has to be proven." Sophia smiles, unfazed. "I know, Mom. And I will continue to prove myself, not just to you, but for myself as well." Evelyn says nothing more, but in her gaze, there seems to be a glimmer of hope, or at least an acceptance that Sophia will not be easily defeated. One morning, Evelyn sat in the living room, gazing out at the garden with a thoughtful expression. She had pondered a lot since Nick declared his support for Sophia. She could not deny that Sophia possessed the strength and resilience that she had once underestimated. But her pride did not allow her to easily admit she was wrong. When the butler entered with a cup of tea, Evelyn asked, "Is Sophia really the right one for Nick? Or are we just trying to protect our son from uncertainties?" The butler, who had worked with Evelyn for many years, smiled gently and said, "Madam, sometimes love doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be sincere. And I believe Sophia has proven that." Evelyn fell silent. Those words made her reflect more deeply. Sophia and Nick decided to hold a small gathering at home to celebrate the successful launch of her cosmetics brand. They invited close friends and family to attend. Sophia, in a simple yet elegant dress, stood beside Nick, feeling happier than ever. She had overcome many challenges to reach this day, and she knew that Nick had always been her steady support. When everyone had arrived, Nick raised a glass and said, "Today, we are not only celebrating Sophia's success but also celebrating love and unity. Sophia, I am proud of you, and I know that this is just the beginning of even more wonderful things to come." Everyone applauded, and Sophia smiled, feeling her heart filled with joy. Evelyn is also present at the party. She stands in a corner of the room, observing Sophia conversing with the guests. Although she does not want to admit it, she cannot deny that Sophia has matured and deserves her place. At the end of the party, Evelyn approaches Sophia. "Sophia, can you talk to me privately for a moment? Sophia slightly surprises but nods. The two walk out to the garden, where the dim lights illuminate the roses that Evelyn loves. Evelyn looks at Sophia, her voice becoming softer. Sophia, I have thought a lot. I admit that I was wrong to try to interfere in your life and Nick's. I only wanted the best for my son, but I did not realize that the best for him is you. Sophia looks at Evelyn, feeling a mix of surprise and emotion. Mom, do you really think so? Evelyn nods, her gaze softening. You have proven that you are a strong and deserving woman. I do not promise that I will change immediately, but I will strive to support you and Nick. Sophia smiles, tears glistening in her eyes. Thank you, Mom. I know that you always want the best for Nick, and I will do everything to not disappoint you. Evelyn gently takes Sophia's hand. This is the first time the two have truly connected, no longer with confrontation or tension. A few months later, Sophia and Nick organized a vacation trip with Evelyn. This was the first time the whole family had the opportunity to spend time together without any tension. On an afternoon, as the three of them sat by the beach, Evelyn looked at Nick and Sophia, feeling a relief she had never experienced before. She realized that love was not about control or perfection, but about acceptance and mutual support. Nick held Sophia's hand, smiling at his mother. Mom, I'm very glad that you gave us the chance to prove that we can be happy together. Evelyn nodded gently. I just hope that you both will always remember that happiness isn't easily attained. But if you both stand united, I believe nothing can break you apart. Sophia smiled, feeling her heart full of hope.